YouTube, Robinick, no longer Gabe Warowski, RMBJ2K. What's good, you guys? 2K26 literally just dropped today. I got my hands on the builder. I cooked up something that I believe is super serious. The builder actually got a little more complicated, not because they tweaked a lot of the builder, but actually because they introduced these max plus 2s and max plus 1s. That's not only tied to the season rewards, but it's also tied to the specialization of your build. So I think that these build videos are going to help you guys out a lot. Go ahead and like the video, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of this build specifically. Let me know if you're gonna make it, and watch all the way to the end because I don't want you guys to make any mistakes on your build or waste your money, especially on the first build, because that's just setting the wrong tone for 2K26. But I got a couple part games in with this build already. I'm liking it. The reason why I named it Sweaty PG is because I envision this build being able to play in the Pro-Am and be as sweaty as possible. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this video. Jesus Christ first always, man. Enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys think of it. Sweaty PG is the name. Right-handedness and number 0. I made this build because he is a 6'3" point guard, as you guys see on the screen here. I made him number 0 because it's sort of a spin-off of Damian Lillard. It's not exactly Damian Lillard, but it is a spin-off of Damian Lillard, so I decided to put him at number 0. But we're going to be a point guard. Our height's going to be 6'3", and our weight's going to be 192 with the wingspan of 6'5". And the reason why I went 192 is because you see the strength 71 here. That was the threshold I needed in order to get that 71 strength, which I wanted to get a movable enforcer with. So I do have a little bit of strength on this build just because I know that a movable enforcer will continue to be a good badge. And yeah, like I said, you're going to really want to make sure that you plan ahead of time what you want to do with your max plus 1s and your max plus 2s. But yeah, let's go ahead and start with the physicals. For our speed, we're going to put this at an 86, and I'm going to go ahead and expand the badges here that you could see on the screen. So I'm going to show you guys these different build by badges features in the takeover. Honestly, the takeover is nice. I like the takeover that I was able to get on this build, but the badges and the build by badges is probably going to be your most useful part of this builder. But let's go ahead and put on the speed to an 86, and then our agility, we're going to also put that up to a 72, so 1+1 from there, from what naturally goes up with the 86 speed. And like I mentioned, we're going to max out the strength to a 71. We're going to make sure we want to get that 71 because we do get the movable enforcer here. It's not shown on the screen because I don't have my perimeter, but for the other the last physical, we're going to put our vertical to a 75. And the reason why I went 75 is because this is tied to our driving dunk. One thing that I emphasize on this build is he could dunk, he could shoot, he could pass really well, and he's not super lacking on the perimeter. So this will help us when we want to go into the Pro-Am to have a little bit of bump animations, to have a little bit of defense, so that we're not a full-time liability in the Pro-Am. And I do plan to be in the Pro-Am a lot this year because I want to just get sweatier and sweatier. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the finishing. I want to show you guys the driving dunk that I chose. Honestly, they didn't tweak it too much, the actual attributes. What's really going to make this game change is these +1 and +2 maxes, max badge +1s. So what I decided to do with the driving dunk was to go with an 87, and then you see paired with this vertical of a 75, we will be able to get some good dunk animations. So I'll show you guys the 2-foot contact dunks that I was looking for, so that I was able to get this pro contact dunks off too. I will show you guys how you could use your cap breakers in the future towards the end of this video in order to get this even more elite, but let's just go ahead and wait on that. Let's go back to the physicals, or back to the finishing rather. The driving dunk, I chose to put an 87. The layup went up all the way to an 80. I really don't care much about layup, but the layup is actually tied to our ball handle and the speed with ball, I believe. So I got an 80 layup on this build, a driving dunk of an 87, and the close shot just goes up. Same with the standing dunk, goes up to a 32, and eventually the post control is going to go up to a 40. These aren't the main things that we're concerned about with this build, but let's just go ahead and talk about the badges real quick. So we do get silver posterizer, and we do get gold aerial wizard. That's okay. The main thing we want to do with this build is to be able to use the meter and get those contact dunk animations. Let's go ahead and move on to the shooting, because I really want to just speed through these things so I can really show you guys the max +1, max +2 things that you're going to want to keep in mind, as well as the cap breaker stuff. So let's go ahead and put the shooting up. What we decided to do on this build is a 90. A 93 pointer is what we decided to run, and then I also squeezed out an 80 midi, and then the free throw we got all the way to an 83. Again, this is made for the reg Pro-Am, so I did make sure I put up a good free throw on this build. The pass accuracy, we go all the way to a 92, and then the ball handle all the way to a 95. That's pretty much the mecca, I would say, for to have the best dribble animations that we in the game. So I put a 95 ball handle on that, and then the speed with ball I put all the way to an 86. Put that bump that up one so you can get gold lightning launch. I think that makes a big difference. And then moving on to the defense, I'm just gonna speed through this again so I can talk to you guys a little bit more about why I decided to go with certain attributes. The defense I put up to a 74, and then the steel, I actually was able to get a 73. I was really surprised I was able to get this much. Now let's go ahead and talk about what we want to do with this build. So with the 73 steel, we see we get bronze glove, we get silver interceptor. The perimeter, the reason why I want 71 strength again is so that I can get this bronze immovable enforcer. With the 62 perimeter, we have more than a 62, and then the 71 strength. Another thing that I think will pair nicely with the bronze immovable was the bronze on ball menace. So we do get bronze on ball menace here. I had a lock last year that was strictly like super high on ball menace because he didn't have high strength, but on this build I decided let's go ahead and put immovable enforcer and on ball menace together and see if that gets us the animations, a good bump animations on the perimeter that we're looking for. With the 93 pointer, I'm really not worried about having good jump shots. 93 pointer should be more than enough to find a good jumper on a guard. So let's go ahead and move on onto what I want to do with these cap breakers. So you see we have the 93 pointer. What I eventually want to do, you see the 3-pointer goes all the way up to a 96 here. A 96 3-pointer, that's our max attribute. What I'm going to end up doing is plus 5ing this 3-pointer once I get the plus 5 cap breakers, because I'm hoping we can get the plus 5 cap breakers pretty quick. Once I get the plus 5 cap breakers, I'm going to be able to get gold Deadeye, gold limitless range, gold mini marksman, and gold shifty shooter. Another thing that I like about this approach is what you see here. So we have shifty shooter on silver. We're able to plus 1 this as we get our season cap breaker. If you guys didn't know yet, the 2K26 cap breaker is a little bit different, so it sort of gives you 1 here, 1 there along the way. So we'll be able to put 91 midi cap break that to 91 3 cap break that to 91, and then 92 we're going to be able to get gold Deadeye here. 93 we're going to be able to get gold limitless. 94 we're going to get gold mini marksman. 95 we're going to get Hall of Fame set shot specialist. So it's sort of like that boost in the cap breaker that you need, keeps you going, so you can see, okay, I'm getting towards that 95 3-pointer threshold, and eventually I'm going to be able to get to that point where I have all these on gold and then set shot on Hall of Fame. The last thing that I want to touch on when it comes to cap breakers is I actually made this build with the foresight of having at least 10 cap breakers. So this is a build that will progress nicely in the season. So what you can do for the driving dunk is you say you put the plus 5 cap breakers on 3 already, and then you have plus 5 more. What you would do is put plus 2 on the driving dunk, and then plus 2 or plus 3 on your vertical. So you'd have a 78 vertical and you'd have a 89 driving dunk. What that's going to give you is the small contact dunks off 1, I believe. So let's go down here. Small contact dunks off 1, not small contact dunks off 1, I misspoke. Pro contact dunks off 1. You see we need an 89 driving dunk and a 78 vertical, and we are plus 2 from the driving dunk away and the plus 3 from the vertical away. So that's a nice place to put it if you're anticipating grinding this build out the whole season. It honestly can survive, I would say, the whole season without having to make another point guard like this, and that's something that I think would be really helpful for you guys in order to save you guys money throughout the year. So something to think about if you're not really like making these builds for content and you don't want to spend all this damn money on a build if you ain't trying to make money off the game. So basically something to keep in mind. I think there's other routes you can go with it, but that's what I would recommend to do. Now let's go ahead and get into the bread and butter of what makes this builder so much different, and that's going to be the max plus 1 and the max plus 2. So let me show you guys my plan with what I want to do with this builder, or this build specifically rather. So we have a tier 1 max plus 1 and a max plus 2. What I plan to do for my tier 1 max plus 1 is put either gold bailout or gold interceptor. You see here they're both tier 1s. For my tier 1 max plus 2, I'm probably going to put silver posterizer, boost that all the way to half. I think that could be really toxic. Now let's go ahead and move on to the tier 2 max plus 1. Tier 2 max plus 1, we can make our Hall of Fame dimer all the way to legend. Legend dimer is going to help your teammates out a tremendous amount, and that's what a point guard should be doing. A tier 2 max plus 2, we're going to put our bronze immovable all the way to gold. It's not showing up right here because I'm toggling over speed with ball, but let me go ahead and move on over here. Oh, there it goes. I just messed up my strength right there. So you can see we're going to have this bronze immovable. We can plus 2 that and bump that all the way to half. That'll be toxic. They've really made a way where you can make every single build pretty much well-rounded at the start of the game, which I think is pretty cool. Now, the last and final thing before we finish this build video is just keep in mind that there is going to be a build specialization. I honestly will probably put that either on shooting or defense. Probably leaning more towards shooting and playmaking though, because the defense, if you guys didn't know yet or haven't gotten to the build specialization, let me actually see if I can get you guys to that. Let me pull that up real quick. I've already dumped VC into this build, so I'm going to show you guys my build here. We're a playmaking 3-point slasher. So the reason why I think it'd be pretty cool to go defense, but the reason why I'm a little bit hesitant is because we have to get 250 steals or 250 blocks, 250 shots. Well, 400 steals, so it's better to probably use it on my shooting or my finishing in order to get these other cap breakers and the other max plus 1 shooting badges. I'll probably lean more towards shooting or finishing now that I'm thinking of it, but you can really have your choice with what you want to do with the specialization, and just keep in mind that you'll get an extra max plus 1 and extra max plus 2, but honestly that's probably further away. You're gonna really have to grind out the build. But let's go ahead and see what shades we get so I could show you guys and round off this video. But yeah, here we go. We're going to be a playmaking 3-point slasher, and we do get shades of Damian Lillard. That's mainly the reason why I made him number 0. Made him look like Damian Lillard too. But let me know what you guys think of this video. Really appreciate you guys if you made it this far into the video. I'm excited to get these 2K26 out content out for y'all. So like, comment, and subscribe. Let granny, auntie, uncle, and all that know. Appreciate you guys, and see you guys in the next one. Deuces.